Hello and welcome back to the Practice Squad. This is episode 10. I'm one of the co-hosts, Jordan LaRoche. To my left is Henry Standish, as always. Henry, how are things? How was your weekend? How was Sunday football? Goes the lowdown.
Well, Sunday got off to a rough start because in addition to being an NFL fan, I'm also a Manchester United fan.
Okay.
And they had the Manchester Derby Sunday morning, and it was 6-1 by like the 60th minute, which is like historically embarrassing for the club. But things got a little brighter as the day went on. A wonderful Jets win. Sort of a weird week in that a lot of the games were really tight, and then it seemed as the day went on, we had less and less close games. But it's weird because we used to have 16 games. We'd usually be a quarter way through the season right now, neat and tidy. Now we have 17 games, so it's weird to call it the quarter mark. But I think I'm starting to figure out which teams are good, which teams, to fade a little bit.
Yeah, around that week 4 mark is really kind of the first real test. You're a month into the season. You really kind of look back at that first month to see kind of expectations. And for us, we got a good idea who's actually a legitimate threat. But as we do, we want to start off with last weekend's games.
Yeah.
And do you want to bring in the new kind of system we're doing it in?
So we're going to make categories because, one, it's fun. 2, it's a good way to sort of put the games into a box, make them more memorable in our minds. So, later on when we're, it's week 8, we can remember some games and how they matched up against certain oppositions. And yeah, generally the categories aren't going to be super serious sounding, but they will serve a purpose. So the first one is our Miller Lite Game of the Week. Or, as I would honestly call it at this point, the Detroit Lions Miller Lite Game of the Week, because every game this team plays is absolutely fantastic.
Did you pick the Lions?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah, I picked the 48-45 game.
Fair enough. I know you honestly can't blame you because you want to go straight into it?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this Lions team, so this year against their spread, they're 3-1-0 against the spread. The first 3 weeks they were the underdog. With this past week they were actually the favorite. But even then, this is the 1 week they didn't clear, so they lose that streak. But for this Lions team, the ability just to stay in games right up until the final buzzer is just ridiculous.
It looked like a blowout.
Every
time Red Zone went to the game, Rashard Penny was like running 25 yards into the end zone. It happened like 3 times. Somehow he only had 150 yards. I would have guessed it was like 400 from red zone.
No, 100%. And I mean, but you look at the running game for the Lions, though. I mean, obviously Rashad Penny had a ridiculous game. I think he had over 25, 30 fantasy points. But if you look at the Lions side, who without DeAndre Swift out with a shoulder injury, they didn't miss a beat. I mean,
no St. Brown,
no Amon-Ra St. Brown.
And they scored 45 points.
Yeah. I mean, Jamal Williams was a big part of that, obviously. I mean, he had 108 yards, a couple of touchdowns. But, I mean, Jared Goff was throwing the ball well. TJ Hawkinson as well, 130 yards, 35-plus fantasy points. I mean, just a lot of these other weapons that the Lions had just kind of came out to play.
I'm looking at the Detroit receiving and it's like, Hawkinson had a monster game. That's like Josh Reynolds, Tom Kennedy, Khalif Raymond, Quintez Cephas, Craig Reynolds. Like, who are these people? They're just,
exactly.
I don't know. If you play for the Detroit in a blue jersey, you're just going to be open on every 2nd and 8.
But so just thinking about this game, the crazier thing is the Lions had a couple of turnovers that were very easily avoidable, and this game's probably falls towards the Lions, but we had an even higher score. I mean, you had the onside kick at the end. The Seahawks fumbled it, and then they had that. I just lost my train of thought when they were down. Yeah, that onside kick just could easily turn the tides there.
Yeah, and I think this game probably means Detroit won't make the playoffs. Maybe that's a bit early to say, but it's pretty bad home loss, and it's just more of the same for Detroit. Last year, they kept being in games like this and could never pull one out, and that's basically repeated itself this year. They've played much better than a 1-3 team, considering if you look at some of the teams that are 2-2 in the NFL.
I mean, you got the Bears.
The Giants are 3-1.
Yeah.
The Jets are 2-2. Detroit is like one of the. I mean, their defense. If their defense was just bad and not all-time historically terrible, they're probably a 3-1 team.
No, 100%. I mean, the offense is there. This rest of the team just needs to come together, and when it does, I mean, this Lions team's looking pretty good.
Yeah, and another good performance from Geno. So
yeah.
Seahawks worth keeping an eye on. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder this year, especially without Russ. And
a lot of people counted them out, and that's just more fuel to the fire for them.
And I saw. I guess we'll talk about next week later. So we'll move on. But you want to do the next category? Jake Paul.
It's Jake Paul. I can't believe I'm watching and enjoying it award.
Is that relatable to you? Because that's kind of how I've felt every time he's fought. I'm like, this is actually pretty entertaining to watch.
I mean, I actually haven't seen him fight, but I mean, I've had those instances. But you might hate me for my game.
Okay.
I'm with the Jets and Steelers.
Okay.
Which on paper, if you're looking at this coming into the week, it's not going to jump off the page by any means. But this game had drama, it had action. We got to see Kenny Pickett finally. You and I have been talking about that for a while when we were going to see him. I think you said week 7.
It was way under.
I think I like 4 or 5, so I was pretty close there. But Zach Wilson as well made his season debut. This really just kind of came together to be a great game.
Yeah, so the Jets jump out to the lead. It's 10-0. They look kind of comfortable. The defense is actually creating turnovers. And then the Jets just basically go almost 2 quarters without scoring. Tomlin makes the switch at half. It's Pickett. And, people act like he was unbelievable. He threw 3 picks and 13 pass attempts, so everyone needs to relax. But he definitely did bring a real energy into the game. And as a Jets fan, we're usually the team where the opposition brings in their first-round rookie to play. I still have, nightmare flashbacks to Baker coming in against us on Thursday Night Football for his debut a couple years ago when the Browns broke their, 20-game losing streak.
Yeah, I remember that game. He had the reception touchdown.
Yeah.
That was a great game, too. But
so Pickett comes in, Steelers go up 20-10, 20 straight points. I'm like, of course, this stinks. And and then in the fourth quarter, Wilson 10 for 12, I think 155 yards, leads 2 touchdown drives, and the Road Warrior Jets did it again.
Yeah, and I mean, not without some drama, right at the end of the game too. I mean, Breece Hall kind of sneaks into the end zone, but fumbles the ball. Originally called a fumble. Went through the whole video process, ruled it a touchdown, and I mean, right up to the final play, this game was right there. But one of the things I want to talk about, you kind of mentioned everything I want to say about Kenny Pickett.
He had a good swashbuckling energy. He was talking a lot of trash. I wanted to punch him, but after the game, I respected it way. He came in and he had a lot of moxie.
Yeah, and he did make some really tough throws, which credit to him for that. But obviously, the first game of NFL experience, a true NFL experience, and you're going into halftime. As a goaltender, I've had to do that a couple of times. It's not a great feeling going at halftime, but nevertheless, the Jets are 2-0 on the road for the first time since 2015.
Right, and I think it's the second time we've won in Pittsburgh, and there's every Jets win. There's 10 things that get broken, but I'll say this: is the most slept-on part of the game. Pickett and George Pickens looked really good together.
Yeah.
Pickett or Pickens was absolutely terrifying to go against. He's so big and so athletic. He was easily the scariest guy on the field for the Steelers.
And that's be a great connection over the next decade in Pittsburgh. I think Pickens had 120 yards receiving and Pickett with 120 passing. So I'm really excited to see how they grow together with the Steelers organization.
So I should do this now because I had this game as my Plexico Burress team that shot themselves in the foot award. Because I know it's a bit of a weird pick, but basically here's my rationale. The Steelers had a pretty easy opening schedule to the season, culminating in week 4 at home against the Jets. Now they bring him up in the second half. Again, 3 picks, 13 pass attempts, but he was okay. The Steelers' next 4 games, now that Pickett's the starter. It's at Buffalo, home to Tampa, at Miami, at Philadelphia, I think.
Jeez.
So it's just a really tough part of the schedule to bring him in. They should have started him from the beginning or brought him in after this next stretch of games, because we know how it goes. If you bring your QB in at the right time, it can really, or at the wrong time, it can really backfire.
No, 100%.
And they didn't even beat the Jets, so they got my shot themselves in the foot award.
No, that's actually a great call. I didn't look at the Steelers schedule after this week, but I did take a look at the Jets. But I won't go into it now. But no, that could just shatter young quarterbacks' confidence, morale. Which, for that position, it's probably more a head game than it is actual be able to go out there and do the work. So it'd be really interesting to see how he fares over this next little stretch.
Definitely. At Buffalo is as hard as it gets.
Yeah.
So.
Around this time of year too. And then we go to our Shakespeare in Love Award.
Oh wait, I quickly do
yes,
my
I forgot
Jake
about that.
Paul
My bad.
game? Patriots Packers.
Yeah.
I thought this would be a pretty boring 28-10 game or something like that. And actually, I did say last week, if you want to throw a little Patriots money line plus 475 and just bet on like the Belichick prestige and that he, is prone to grabbing ones like this once in a while just off coaching.
Yeah.
Give it a look. And that actually did almost happen. Bailey Zappi looked okay. Their O-line was great. Kept their offense basically able to keep getting first downs and milk the clock and score points. This game was actually pretty fun. Went to overtime. Yeah. Packers grabbed it. So that was this is much more entertaining than I thought it would be.
And the Patriots always have one or two of those games every year. They go against a team they really have no business beating. But just managed to keep at least a close game, sometimes even win out. They had that run game against Buffalo last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
This game was very similar to that. They really controlled the clock and...
Yeah, and I mean, with who you have a quarterback, I mean, you're going to be running the ball up quite a bit because Damon Harris and Ramondre Stevenson, both over 50 yards. So it's really important to manage that kind of game. And Brian Hoyer does go down with an injury as well. The Patriots are looking at bringing in a quarterback right now, I believe. But Bailey Zappi is still technically on the roster. So things do get a little worse for the Patriots.
Mike White's available.
That's not a terrible pickup. I don't hate that at all.
I wouldn't trade anyone to the Patriots. I'd be way too terrified he'd become a Hall of Famer. Okay, Shakespeare in Love game. Just a movie that my teachers would always put on in high school. And I probably had it turned on with me in the room like 6-7 times, and I've never made it through. I know one Best Picture. I just cannot make it through that movie. So this is the most boring game of the week. I have a feeling we'll have the same game here.
Probably.
You want to go?
Giants Bears?
Yeah.
The 2012.
19 total completions.
256 total passing yards. I mean, the Bear. And just on top of that, the Bears have 34 receptions this year. That's what some teams get in a game.
Yeah. I think Flacco's had that in a game this year.
And I mean, just watching the Bears is just really, really frustrating, man. Like, they just one drive. They did the same play 2 or 3 times on it. They threw this little short out route to Cole Kmet, who gets the ball basically on the line of scrimmage with 3 guys right in front of him. And it ends up, every time it ended up in a loss of yards. So, no, this game just really didn't have much. He had 1 long distance field completion, a couple of runs from him as well. Daniel Jones left, came back, but again...
Well, no, Tyrod started, and of course Tyrod gets injured because Tyrod gets injured every time he has a chance to prove his value in the league. I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah.
So Jones has to play on the bummiest ankle, and he just couldn't do anything. Now, the only saving grace for this game is that Saquon might be my favorite player in the league to watch this year.
Yeah. Oh, my God, yeah.
So, I mean, you got to watch Saquon carry it 31 times. But apart from that, just any Bears game is probably going to be the favorite for this award most weeks.
No, because I mean, watching a running game just isn't really... It's not as fun as watching the ball go through the air, but I mean... there's a couple of scenarios through this game. I can't remember who gave it up. I only put down that there was a 40-yard defensive pass interference. I think the Giants got the better end of that, and it leads to that touchdown later on in the game. I'm trying to think of the play exactly, but no, I mean, just the Bears shot themselves in the foot there. This defense doesn't look good. The offense doesn't look good. I mean, the Bears are going to be here every week. The Giants are probably going to be here a few more times as well.
Yeah, in losses. I don't think the Giants are going to be the 7th seed in the NFC.
No, yeah.
I will say silver lining for the Bears is Darnell Mooney showed signs of life. He had his best game of the year. But even with the Giants, their receiving core is so banged up. Daniel Bellinger and Tanner Hudson led them in yards this week. But apparently they've brought in OBJ for a visit, which would be pretty exciting.
Okay. You said the Giants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little reunion for him there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, coming off a Super Bowl win, I mean, hopefully you can change something there.
Yeah. Next game is our...
This is the shooting themselves in the foot award.
Right. So, yes, I had the Jets-Steelers game. Who'd you have?
I had the Saints and the Vikings, the London game. And this, you gotta give credit to the Saints there. Without Jameis Winston, without Alvin Kamara, without Michael Thomas, they managed to make it a 3-point game and just kind of kept themselves in it. But they had the chance to tie it right at the end of the game. This is why it is the shooting themselves in the foot award. Will Lutz misses the 51-yard field goal after just completing a 53-yarder. A double doink, so Cody Parkey now lives free wherever he is now. But no, it was a great game, but it came down to just the kick that just couldn't make it.
Yeah, and this was the London game, and I kind of like the London games because I think there's a chance that the Brits could like football, and it's fun seeing them all in the crowd and enjoying the drama of it all. And the double doink, the Brits were like beside themselves. They didn't know what to do.
No,
some great crowd shots.
I mean, obviously it's a huge soccer nation, and a lot of the criticism with American football overseas is you have these kickers kicking through these massive uprights. There's no way in a million years they should miss. So you just play into all their hearts.
And they love the theater. They love theater.
Yeah.
So double doink is perfect. I don't think really the Saints did anything wrong in that game. I thought they played pretty well, but
it was a tough one for me to just kind of find. But I went with this one solely based off the double doink here. But the 6 field goals during the whole game, which is kind of weird because the ball was moving for most of the game. Andy Dalton had a decent game. But just the kick in the nuts at the end just seals the deal.
Mm-hmm. And as a Vikings minus 2.5 guy, that was pretty thrilling for me. Okay, last game.
Oh yeah, you had the
award.
Yeah, the Jets. Yeah.
Sammy Paradise. I'm ruined. I don't know if you've seen the show. I think you should leave.
I haven't. No.
Okay, you should definitely check it out. I think it's the best sketch comedy show right now. It's on Netflix, and there's a sketch where this guy Sammy Paradise is. He's like a very smooth cat walking through a casino. Everyone's staring at him. He's got a beautiful girl with him. And he's singing a musical about lucky number 7. And it's like set up very smooth and suave. And then he makes a bet and it doesn't hit and the music cuts. She goes, I'm ruined. And that's sort of and it all falls apart from there. It's pretty funny. But yeah, this is the award for the game that just ruined the most people's parlays, their teasers.
Yep.
And I think most people in my life had the Browns and basically a pick 'em over the Falcons. We'd been talking a lot how we thought the Browns were good. And
I wouldn't say good.
I thought they were good, to be honest. I thought
decent maybe,
they
but
were a Jets fluke away from being 3-0. So I was like, oh. Pick 'em versus the Falcons, easy. Throw this and everything.
Yeah.
And completely bit me.
No, and I don't know what to think about this game because I mean when we talk about the Browns, it's a lot about the defense. We don't talk about the offense that much, and just Mariota didn't have a great game by any means.
Terrible game.
But
it was 7 for 19.
Yeah, it's just the run game worked, and sometimes that's all you need. Of course, the Browns without Myles Garrett, he was in a car accident last week. Not too sure what the status on him right now is, but Tyler Algier, 84 yards, Caleb Huntley, 56 yards, and again, just no one in the passing game really did much.
Yeah, and Drake London hasn't done much this year. First wide receiver taken in the draft. Obviously, Kyle Pitts, I think, is averaging under 2 touches a game. I saw something he'd be the 3rd-ranked fantasy tight end on the Seahawks. So I don't really know how the Falcons are doing it, but they've played well in every game this year.
Yeah, I mean, give them credit because, I mean, looking at the receiving stats right now, Olamide Zaccheaus, 2 receptions. Kyle Pitts, 1 reception. Parker Hesse, 1 reception. Tyler Algier, 1 reception. Drake London, 2 receptions, and that's it.
Yeah, they had 7 completions.
Yeah, 139 yards with 1 reception for Mariota. I mean, I'm surprised that they even came out of this, but you look at the Brown side, it looks much more like a normal stat line, for, even though they lost.
I wanted them to put up. I had them for shot themselves in the foot, and then I needed a game that I felt ruined most people's parlays, so I ended up pivoting it because this was the one I thought. But yeah, terrible loss for the Browns. They should be better than 2-2, I think. And
I think so. Yeah.
And now the AFC North. It looked like it was going to be a really strong division really early in the season, and Steelers might be the worst team in the league. Browns being 500 isn't going to probably be enough for when Deshaun gets back. And Bengals and Ravens. Bengals had a good week, but Ravens lose to the Bills at home. I thought they'd win, so...
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm surprised neither of us picked that Ravens-Bills games. I was considering that for my game of the week as well, but you're 100% right. The NFC North is just kind of...
It just wasn't that good a game.
Yeah.
I thought it would be better.
Really?
It's not that it was an okay game. I just thought I had very high expectations.
Yeah, I don't think it lived up to expectations, but you still had a huge Bills comeback, scoring 3 back-to-back touchdowns. Mm-hmm. It is what it is, but no, this division, I expected the Bengals to be better. I was really disappointed how they kind of started out this year, and now the Browns kind of like they're flailing a little bit. I mean,
nobody above 500.
Yeah, and I mean, for the Browns right now, you don't even have Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper had 1 reception in the last game, 9 yards, and
bizarre.
David Njoku's doing well, doing something, but Amari Cooper's got to be your guy, and he's got to get the touches. So until he does, it might not be till Deshaun gets back, but until he does, it's not looking great for the Browns right now.
Mm-hmm. And before we wrap up here, a couple other things worth mentioning. The Cowboys look really good.
Yeah, I mean, another team that just their defense just come out of nowhere and just. They're setting the league on fire right now with Cooper Rush, who's undefeated as the Cowboy starter right now.
CD is he's come into form now. He had a great touchdown versus the Giants. Good game this week. Colts hot seat, obviously.
Yep.
Jags up 14-0 on the Eagles. Like whoa, and then they barely scored for the rest of the game. And then Javonte Williams out for the season.
That's a big loss, and even for the Broncos to lose to the Raiders this week, I mean that's just a double whammy for them.
Russ's best game of the season so far too.
I know. I'm just really worried about this Denver team right now.
Yeah, they have an interesting matchup this week, which we'll get to. But anything else you want to touch on?
Nothing really here. Oh, you see Tom Brady and Giselle, divorce lawyers.
Yeah, a part of me was holding out that, it was all a bit of smoke and mirrors and just the media making stuff up, but nope. Looks like he may have chose football over his family, which makes him a hero and also like the worst guy ever.
I don't know how to take this because I mean for the rest of the season that's really the only thing. I imagine it's the only thing on his mind.
He looks so angry and sad all the time too. Now the Bucs haven't had a great year, but Yeah, it's so dramatic. Every time the camera shows a close up of him.
He kind of looks pale. Like,
Yeah, he does.
He just doesn't look good.
Yeah, I saw a fake thing, and it was Pete Davidson with Giselle.
I saw Zach Wilson as well. I sent that to you.
Yeah. And looking ahead to week 5, as we do every week, we're going to look ahead to the slate of games, talk about the picks we like, the lines we like, and just give that weekend preview.
Yeah.
Always helps me get my head straight.
No, honestly, it does. It gives us a moment to actually like look at each game, see what we like, and actually come.
Talk through it.
I place all my bets like right after these shows.
Yeah,
because
me
it's just
too.
fresh in my mind.
Well, it also gets like the blood going.
A little bit.
Home and you know.
I talk myself into bets that probably are pretty stupid, but
my bets definitely were stupid last week, so I'm looking to rebound. And I was looking at our Thursday night game, and I'm going, wow, I really want to take the Colts money line.
Too, man.
It's Broncos -3.5.
Yeah.
I may end up taking the Colts spread, but I had to have that moment. It was like 2 a.m, and I'm going, I've lost more money on Matt Ryan than any other athlete. I'm not starting my week off with it. Because the Falcons would always be -2.5 over like these terrible teams, and I would take them for years, and they would never get it, and they would never cover, and they would end up somehow like 7-9 on the season, despite me going 0-6 picking them to win. So I was like, I'm not taking Matt Ryan money lines, but wow, I think this game is a complete pick 'em, and you get +150 on the Colts.
Yeah, and
I just like desperate teams. I like coaches on the hot seat who I think are good coaches, and I do think Frank Reich's a good coach. I'll probably take Colts +3.5, though, because I don't think Denver should be favored by a field goal over anyone.
No, not right now for sure. I'm with you there. I was looking at money line +150. It's good. I really want to take it, but the realization is that Matt Ryan is the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, and
Jonathan Taylor, sir.
Jonathan Taylor's out. I don't trust the Colts right now. I don't trust any Matt Ryan team in general, really, and I don't trust the Broncos either. So this could be a stay away for me.
I still might end up taking the money line, but I'm going to try not to. That's tough.
And do we have another London game?
Yeah, we do have a London game, and it's a weird one.
The Giants and the Packers.
Yeah.
I mean, usually when they send two teams to London, it's a divisional game. It's a rivalry. They try to make it a little bit interesting, at least. These two teams, I like the teams. Don't get me wrong. It's just not.
You don't like the 2, 3, and 1 teams facing off at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
No, you can't build a storyline around the Giants and the Packers.
Yeah, I agree. This is a pretty boring matchup, even though these teams are combined 6-2.
Yeah.
The Giants definitely are a feel-good story, but I think they're going to be outclassed this week.
Yeah. No, I think the Giants were kind of going off of bot time for a little bit. You know, you have the glory that Saquon's back in the lineup. Daniel Jones has looked good so far this year, but it's the Packers, and I don't see the Giants putting up much of a fight in London.
So -7.5. That seems like a classic tease down just a point, so you get the touchdown and you win.
Yeah.
I would take Giants +7.5 though, just because they've shown the ability to keep games tight at least all year.
Yeah.
And especially with Saquon looking like the most valuable running back in the league this year, they might be able to control the clock. No home field advantage. This would have been a game at Lambeau. And honestly, with the time zone difference, a lot of these London games are weird.
Yeah.
The players, nobody's figured out the formula for what day to arrive in London in the week, how many days to give yourself to adjust to the time zone. The atmosphere is a little different.
And for most of these guys, I mean, probably the first time leaving the country.
Yeah. First time in England. So I would take Giants +7.5 just because I could see this being within a touchdown.
Yeah, and the Giants on these late drives just find a way to get it done. I just wish they could keep that up for a full game, but the Giants +7.5, I'm inclined to take that as well.
I would say, honestly, lay off it for a few days because I could see it going up even higher, and you might be able to grab it like 8.5 by the time Sunday comes around.
Yeah, I know. And even just, I'm going to quickly out of curiosity, 8.5 right now is minus 120.
It opened 6.5, and it's already
Yeah.
gone up a point. So maybe just hold off on that one. But I take Giants. I take Giants.
Yeah.
Okay, Chargers, Browns.
Probably the Chargers. I'm minus 3 spread. Chargers are minus 150. Browns plus 135. I like the Chargers here at minus 3. My only concern is just how the Browns defense turns up. Sorry, but the Chargers, I think they can take this by 3, at least 3.
Yeah, I'd probably go down to minus 2.5 just to be
Yeah.
safe. But the thing with the Chargers is that they have not been a safe play at all this year. There's been a lot of volatility one week to the next.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And with the Chargers, with Justin Herbert's injury earlier on this season, I'm not fully invested in them right now. I'm not fully bought in yet. I want to see a little more from them. I probably will take them anyway.
Keenan Allen is supposed to return, and
Yeah.
if you're looking for a game where you feel like you can get 3 or less, and you believe in one team more than the other, this is really one of the only low spreads we have this week.
Yeah,
It's a lot of high spreads. It's not an awesome week of matchups. So if you think the Chargers are about to right the ship and maybe rip off a 4 or 5 game run, this is probably the week to hop on it.
yeah, and I mean, it is the Browns who are coming off a loss to the Falcons last week, so I'm not feeling too great about them.
Yeah, I'll take the minus 3, or even the money line at minus 150.
And then we go to the Steelers and the Bills.
Biggest line of the year so far.
Plus 14.
I think Vegas is saying they think Steelers are the worst team in the league.
I think so. I don't know if they actually are, but no, the plus 700, 14 spread. I don't love it. I never like these.
I don't love a huge spread either. I would take the plus 14, and it would just be strictly because I think Tomlin's too good not to rebound a little.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a 10-point game, but 14 just makes me nervous.
You are kind of throwing Kenny Pickett to the Wolves, though, going
You
up
are.
against the Steelers
You
defense,
are.
or the Bills defense, sorry.
Bills, I'm not sure what their injury situation is going to look like for this weekend, but if they're still a little banged up in the secondary,
Maybe. George Pickens gets open.
Pickens is terrifying. That guy's
Yeah.
going to be so good. He might be a top 10 receiver by the end of the year if Pickett's any good, but I'll take the plus 14 just because I hate laying more than 14. And I don't think the Steelers are like the Jets or the Jags have been in years past where they're just an abomination. They're still a Mike Tomlin team.
Yeah.
So I'll take the 14 points.
And you still have some good pieces in that defense. They have some weapons on offense. It's got to find a way for it to come together. And we go to
So you're taking plus 14?
Yeah. Yeah.
Texans, Jags. It's Jags minus 7. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I think Texans might be starting to fade a little bit. They played really well at the start of the season. Dameon Pierce looks great, but while the Jags did collapse a little against the Eagles, they certainly didn't look out of their depth playing the league's finest team at the moment.
Yeah.
So they're probably really good. They're at home. Put it down to 6.5. Take the touchdown.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you there. The Texans start to the year it caught everyone a little off guard, and they've kind of come back to earth a little bit. And I think they're going to keep coming back to earth because I think after this week, we're probably thinking the Texans is probably the worst team in the league right now. Mm-hmm. But the Jaguars keeping that game close against the Eagles. The Eagles is definitely a good sign for them, a good sign for Trevor Lawrence, and just the offense that they have. So. I do think their offense will look better against Houston. It'll look better against Houston. Maybe the over at 43.5 potentially, but definitely Jags minus 6.5.
Bears, Vikings. Vikings minus 7 in Minnesota. Also going to take the Vikings.
Yeah,
I just can't take the Bears unless you're giving me like a plus 14 type line.
Yeah.
Now the Bears are 2-2, but I think because they're 2-2, that's why this line is 7 and not 9-10.
Well, their wins are against the 49ers in a monsoon, and I'm forgetting the other one.
They beat. Did they beat the Panthers?
You're right. I think pretty sure you're right there. And again, but even if it's not the Panthers, I don't think it was a team of a big name by any means.
Texans. It was
the Texans.
The Texans.
Yeah. So there you go. Even worse. So. I don't want to say too much more about the Bears. I've kind of dumped to them a lot this episode, but no, the Vikings at minus 6.5 is probably one I'll hit.
I wish the Vikings looked a little better this year. I had a lot of high hopes for them, and they've been a little underwhelming, but they're probably going to be 4-1 after this week.
Yeah. Again, just a team that just is winning games, but I think as soon as they go up against an actual opponent, it's going to be a much different story.
Per the Action Network, line opened at 6, already at 7, 82% of public money on the Vikings. That's one you probably grabbed today.
Yeah.
Like right after the show.
Oh.
Because that line's going to be like 8.5.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is my favorite bet of the week. This is like the only one I really like.
Okay, yeah.
Detroit money line versus the Pats. Plus 140.
I just need a minute. I'm just going to place my bets here. Because, no, I mean, just that's ridiculous. But the Lions should no right be an underdog to the Patriots right now. I mean, the Patriots are probably down to their third-string quarterback still. Coming off a loss to the Packers, where this Detroit Lions team just finds offense from anyone and anywhere.
Yeah, and I'm hoping St. Brown will be back.
Yeah.
Because I'd prefer he's back over Swift. Jamal Williams is playing awesome this year.
Yeah, he's so much fun to watch too.
Yeah, I would take the Lions money line. I just think they're a better team, and I don't know if the Pats can put up the points needed.
No.
The Lions' problem is their pass defense is atrocious. The Patriots, so far this year, have been one of the worst passing teams. I just trust Detroit to put up 25-plus points every game.
Yeah, the over's at 45.5, and I think the Lions could clear that on their own, but I'm worried.
Not in Foxborough. Calm down.
But I'm worried about the Patriots being able to put up any kind of offense just in general now.
Just going to quickly mention Jonathan Taylor just got rolled out for Thursday.
Okay.
So let that Denver line go up to like -5 and then rip that Colts.
Oh, yeah.
This is good. I feel like we're giving out some good advice this week.
I'm a little more seasoned, and now that I've gone through my losses, but I just deposit some more money in my gambling account. We're good to go.
Yeah, nice. What's next? Seahawks Saints.
We were talking about this a little bit earlier. The Seahawks are the underdog here. I don't know. I just did a quick check on Jameis Winston, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. It doesn't look like they'll be back this week. At least Jameis won't for sure. So,
Andy Dalton honestly looked pretty good, and Olave looks really good.
Yeah.
And I hate -5 lines.
Yeah.
Because it's like a meaningless number, you know? Usually a line's going to be at 3 or it's going to be at like 6, 5. No football games are decided by 5 points, so it's always a weird line to hit. I'd probably tease the Seahawks up to +7 would probably be my move.
+7.
Yeah. Or I'd rip their money line, but I think they're probably the better ran team. But the Saints honestly did look good this past weekend.
Yeah, no, and Andy Dalton, don't get me wrong, he was a very serviceable quarterback. I mean, he was a starter in Cincinnati for the better part of a decade, and he still got something in him. So for the Seahawks to be the underdog here, I'm probably leaning towards that just based off their last week performance. But I don't know. This game could be a potential stay away from me.
Yeah. Or I'd rip like a money line parlay, Lions, Seahawks, and then you're suddenly at like a pretty sweet bet.
Yeah, that's not bad either.
You know, I like doing the little underdog parlay sometime. Yeah, so you're getting 7-1 there if you hit Lions, Seahawks money line parlay.
That's pretty good.
Pretty tasty.
That's pretty good.
Okay, let's go. Jets time. The Jets sneaky have a really nice receiving core.
No, the 100% they do.
Corey Davis, look, we overpaid him, but we have to overpay anyone because we're the Jets if we want to get them as a free agent. But Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis running routes is a nice little three-headed receiver core. And last week we showed it. So proud of Zach Wilson. He was pretty terrible in the second and third quarters of that game. And everyone loves to rip on Zach Wilson because he's a Jet. He was unbelievable in the fourth quarter. 10 for 12, a fourth down conversion, third down rockets. Shout out Zach Wilson, man.
Yeah, and I think the question for the Jets heading into this game is the defense, if they can keep up with actually confirmed Tua's not playing. I would hope so.
The corpse of Tua not playing.
Who do they have as their backup?
It's
the
Teddy.
Dolphins.
Teddy.
That's right.
Which is a pretty good backup.
Yeah. So, and you're still gonna have Tyreek Hill. You're still gonna have Jalen Waddle. Can this Jets defense keep up with the Dolphins offense?
So the Jets might have one of the best cornerback duos in the league.
Yeah.
Sauce and DJ Reed have allowed like 9 total completions this year. Our problem is CJ Mosley guarding people over the middle. He's too slow, and our safeties can't guard anyone. If you look at like sort of a flow chart, every completion against the Jets on 3rd and 7 is through the middle, not against those cornerbacks. I think they'll do fine on home waddle. With that said, this is a freebie. I know the Jets. This is our classic letdown game back at home, and you can get the Dolphins -3. You should. I won't be betting it.
A freebie.
I won't be betting it, but I know the Jets. This is like classic. Take the 3 points. The Dolphins are a well-ran team. Not even sure Teddy's that much worse than Tua.
No.
And the Jets have done this a million times. They have sort of an uplifting win on the road. They come back home and they lose like 30-16.
Yeah, I learned very quickly to bet against a team that has a come to Jesus moment on the road.
Yeah, and exactly. You would have won if you did it against the Bengals in week 3 after we had the Hail Mary win against the Browns. So I would recommend hitting the Dolphins.
And
pretty mature, right?
Yeah, no, I'm surprised, honestly.
I just know. Or Rip Jets money line +145.
And we go to Tampa Bay, where the Buccaneers will face off against the Falcons. -400 for the Buccaneers, -8.5. Shouldn't really be a surprise, but I'm probably going to hit the Falcons spread here +8.5. I think they can keep it close.
Yeah.
Mariota's had some great games this year.
Over a touchdown, just give me the Falcons, especially against a Bucs team that, yes, they scored on Sunday night. They haven't scored much this season.
Yeah.
The one thing is, we might get the Bucs unleash game.
Maybe, but with everything that's going on with Tom Brady, we spoke about it a little bit earlier. I don't know. It'll either be the breakup, the pop-off game, or kind of the letdown.
I'd say this: hit over 48. The Falcons have shown they can put up 25 points in a game. There's a chance we got a Bucs 40-point game. The offense did open up against the Chiefs. They just couldn't stop Mahomes.
Yeah.
That's a tough line because I really think the Bucs do break it open this week, but the Falcons, I think they've covered every week.
I'm pretty sure they have. I'll still double check that, but no, Tampa Bay just hasn't looked good, and
I'm gonna take the Bucs.
They are due. I just don't know if this is the week to do it. With everything that's happening off the field, essentially. So I'm probably gonna go with the Falcons +8.5. And then we go to Washington where they faced off against the Titans. The Titans looked decent last week. Derrick Henry probably had some big runs, but the Commanders.
I'm off the Commanders. I had them this week, money line against Dallas. Nope, not again. No more Commanders money lines for Henry.
It drew me nuts this weekend though, because they're wearing those black and yellow jerseys.
Yeah.
And I was kind of doing stuff while the 1:00 games were happening on Red Zone, and they kept going into the Commanders game. I kept thinking it was the Steelers. So I saw Carson Wentz throw a couple of interceptions, thinking that I thought they were all Kenny Pickett.
The amount of offenses we have this year that are just struggling to throw completions is mind-boggling. The Commanders have put up points this year, but it's all on like huge gainers. Like they actually don't complete that many passes. And like you look around the league, like obviously the Giants, the Bears, even the Falcons. There's just a lot of teams struggling to just move the chains this year.
Yeah, which I as a fan you really don't want to see, but I think in the Commanders' case, a little bit's Carson Wentz, and I mean, I think this offense is really built for the deep ball with Terry McLaurin. So if they can get a strong arm quarterback back there, I think it will be better. But Carson Wentz and Antonio Gibson is just not working right now.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel leads them in targets.
Yeah.
John Dotson, I think, has more fantasy points than Terry McLaurin, so it's just been a weird year. I'll take the Titans -2.5 because I'm not taking the Commanders.
No,
again.
I'm off on them.
And Niners Panthers -6.5 for the Niners in Carolina.
I'll probably hit that. Yeah.
I Niners riding the ship this week a little bit.
I feel better.
We know this team's good with Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly. I feel better with Jimmy Garoppolo in there than Trey Lance right now for sure.
That's a tease for me, -2.5. Apparently, doing teasers is stupid. Like I heard some that like real sharp bettors think idiots do teasers, so that kind of hurt my feelings. But at the same time, I don't like laying a touchdown all the time.
No.
Sometimes I like laying -2.5.
Yeah.
Pay a little more juice.
Jeez, you're really getting into the gambling lingo now. the juice. But no,
I'm teasing that one though.
Yeah, I might even take this under 39. It's pretty low, but it's pretty low. But I have DJ Moore on my fantasy team, and I cry every week when I see what DJ Moore does. And this 49ers offense has never done that much. Granted, you have Debo, Brandon Ayuk,
so you're basically betting on like a 21-6 game.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, seems pretty probable, but I can't hit under 39 because you have 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, and they just don't need to score the rest of the game. The Eagles and the Cardinals
weird line
in Arizona,
which is why it's a weird line. This would be -7.5 in Philly or something. -5 for Philly.
I'm still probably going to take the -5. I just the Cardinals has just been a letdown for me this year. D-Hop isn't back yet. I think we still have another week before he's back.
Is this the upset game though?
Not the Cardinals.
Not the Cardinals.
The Cardinals have just been nothing like what they were last year so far.
Well, they've won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
They won by 10 this week.
Yeah.
I wish this line were a little higher. I wish I could grab them like +8, which isn't going to happen at home. This one, maybe a little underdog to it. I don't know. I might be sniffing this out.
I'm not sold on them. The Eagles have just looked so good this year, and
big tease potential with the -5 line.
Yeah, I mean 6.5 for the Steelers. You're getting +107. This isn't terrible, but again, maybe this is an over game as well. I'll sit here.
I like this as an over game.
48.5. That's not terrible.
Not terrible.
And this is what both these teams are known for. It's the offense. So
this is a tough one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm pretty undecided.
The Cowboys and the Rams in LA.
This might be the Miller Lite game of the week, unless you
really?
think it's the next game we're about to do. Yeah, it's probably the next game. I take it back. Okay.
Yeah.
Cowboys, Rams. I'm actually taking the Rams. I know you got burned by the Rams this week, so you're off them. I got burned by the Cowboys, as in I had the Commanders. But I think eventually Cooper Rush he can't go he's going to lose a game at some point. It's in L.A.
Yeah. No, and to call a spade.
And I like McVay after only scoring 9 points. I think he's just like an obsessive, competitive dude. I think that offense comes out and they score a bunch of points.
I mean, to call a spade. I think this Rams defense is going to give Cooper Rush a lot of problems. I do think the Rams offense is better, but the sole fact that they crashed my 4-leg parlay this weekend, it's stay away.
Fair enough. That Debo play against the Rams was the Miller Lite play of the week, certainly. That was unbelievable, that catch and run. Nobody else can do that specific play as well as him.
No, because he's fast, but he has body to him. He's not just one of these small typical running backs or wide receivers that we see lanky guys. He's a big dude.
Yeah, I bet he doesn't have abs.
Probably not. Probably looks a little more like us, but
yeah. Just a lot faster. Okay, Miller Lite game of the week. I think on paper we don't have an absolute banger this week, so no. I think it's probably Bengals Ravens. Ravens -3.5 at home. Big game though. 2-2 teams.
The divisional teams.
Bengals don't want to go under 500 again. Ravens need to kind of get it going again.
Yeah.
I thought they'd beat the Bills. They didn't. Thanksgiving Day. Perfect day. I got my parents visiting, as I was telling you before the show. Gonna get my dad to pick up the Miller Lights, throw on some games, cheer for the Jets, and then this is our night game.
Yeah,
tasty.
I mean, honestly, for a night game for Canadian Thanksgiving, that's pretty solid. It's probably more the storyline, the actual teams, but I'm excited for this one. I think Baltimore can really show what they can do. And these are two teams that we thought were going to be competing for the top of this division. Show us what you got.
Yeah.
And if we're looking at lines right now, the -3.5 for the Ravens, I don't love. I don't know if I love it.
Yeah, I'm taking Bengals +3.5, and I hope it's a field goal game. I don't know who's going to win this game, so that's when I like to take the points, especially over a field goal.
It's going to be close, and probably that Bengals 3.5 is probably going to be the move. Yeah, I'm riding with you there.
Nice win over the Dolphins. Controlled the game from start to finish. Ravens, they just 2 collapses now this year where teams have scored 3 straight touchdowns and a half against them. Don't love that. And looks like the Bengals offense starting to get going. Joe Mixon had his best week so far.
Yeah, the Ravens throwing game struggled a little bit against the Bills, which I mean that was what at least I thought was going to be one of their strengths heading into last week. But no, I think Lamar just gets back to form. I think this Bengals defense might give up a couple points. So looking at it over 48, I don't hate it either. These two teams historically score a lot of points.
Yeah, and before we do Monday, Thanksgiving, what are you doing for it?
We were talking about going to Edmonton to see my girlfriend's family, but some things came up, and I'm going to be hanging around my place. Buddy Jonah's coming over, bring a big over piece of ham, watch some football.
Nice.
Just hang out.
Nice. That sounds pretty ideal to me. I'll have to deal with all the family stuff.
If you ever need to escape, I'm down the road. So
yeah. I might need to do that. Raiders Chiefs Monday night.
Oh.
Yeah,
it's the Chiefs, right? It's the Chiefs.
It's a tease. It's a tease candidate.
Yeah, but
it is in Kansas. Yeah, you probably just the odds that the Chiefs score 28 points in the first half is actually so reasonable that it's really tough to take them unless this line goes up to 8.5, and then you might think Raiders.
Yeah, but I mean, this will just be one of those random divisional games.
I don't know what to think of the Raiders, though.
Yeah,
they're basically a stay away from me.
No,
I did have them this week because I was like, Denver does not deserve to be a 3-1 team, and I was correct. I did a good job there. But are the Raiders good? I'm not really sure. I think they're probably really mediocre.
That's probably that's probably the realistic answer, but I don't know. The Raiders against the Chiefs just always manage to pull out a close game.
Right, historically good games.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So I don't know where to go with this one, and
it's a tease.
Yeah,
put it down to 2.5.
I might just say screw it and hit that 50.5 over though.
50.5, eh? I mean, what Chiefs and Bucks put up 72.
Yeah, and when you're playing the Chiefs, you have to match every point. So if the Raiders have a chance in hell of coming close in this game, they're gonna put up a lot of points.
Yeah. Okay. That's another weekend slate. Like I said, didn't love this slate as much as last week's. I thought I was gonna I don't know, pay off my student loans last week with gambling, and that didn't happen. If I like the slate too much, I put too much in the parlays.
Yeah,
when I don't
that's my
like
issue.
the slate as much, I pick like 2 games I like, and so hopefully I can have a little Thanksgiving success.
I also the issue where I was putting more than like $15 on a parlay, which I just can't financially do.
No, yeah.
So I've learned from that, but we're moving on. Hopefully this is a better week.
You should bleep that out. You don't want people to know your unit sizes.
I don't care. I'm down bad.
I am too, but hopefully we can right the ship this week.
Yeah. And thank you for watching another episode of the Practice Squad. As always, we're down here at the bottom line, the locker room at the bottom line. We're just down the street from Union, right next to the Hockey Hall of Fame. If you're downtown on a Monday or Thursday night, grab a $5 Miller Lite. And as want to give them a shout out as well, Miller Lite, for sponsoring the show, helping us and allowing us to pursue this.
A lot of comments on my hoodie already.
Yeah.
A lot of where'd you get that? It looks comfortable.
We're stay tuned for some giveaways in the future. We have a bunch of Miller Lite merch that we can give away. But as always, go to Practice Squad TO on all social media platforms to see that. At LaRoche Jordan, at Henry.Standage.
Have some Millers for the Jays games, too. I know we're a football show, but I mean, you couldn't come up with a better location for having some Millers on a Jays playoff night.
Yeah, a 10-minute walk I walked by on my way here and home.
Right in the thick of it.
Yeah. But as always, we will see you next week.